Hello and welcome once again to the Monarchs Friday Focus. Myself, Graham Muncie, joined once again by John McGilvery. John, thanks very much for joining us.
Not a problem, yeah, good to be here.
So tonight we'll look back on a comfortable but entertaining victory for the Monarchs over the Rebels. Final score was 57-32, the unusual drop point. It was a big match for the Monarchs tonight. We all know the away points are what's required, but if Somerset had got a point tonight, we couldn't have made the playoffs. So in that case, it's job done.
Oh, absolutely, and a good job done as well. You know, they came here with what should have been a strong top four. Obviously, no Rory Slime, with best wishes to Rory as well. It left them with three riders. Harris didn't really perform, certainly until heat 13, so it left them kind of struggling there a bit. Only a couple of riders scoring points, but the guys still had to go and do a job, and they did that job, and they did it well.
Yep, so job done and job well done, as John says. We'll look back on tonight's meeting. We'll talk to the entertaining Argentinian, Nico Covatti. That's a good alliteration there. Quite proud of that one. From Somerset. Monarchs Willie Lawson, also close to a maximum. Yep. And we'll see that heat that Willie just got pipped on. Our heat of the night, maybe not the best race tonight. There were some other good races we could have picked. But from the sake of talking to Willie and what an effort it was, talk to him. So John, we mentioned it there. It was all important to get those points tonight. The task was probably made a little bit easier when the news filtered through that Rory had hurt. I think it's a shoulder injury from riding at pool last night. I know you and Rory are still firm friends for back in the day. Have you spoken to him at all today? What's the word on him?
Very briefly. He was away at lunchtime. He was away to get scans on his shoulder this afternoon. I haven't spoken to him since. But you know, knowing him, he likes to come up here. He loves it up here. There's lots of friends still up here. So he was disappointed that he couldn't come up. But obviously, needs to make sure he's fit first and foremost.
Yeah.
But
and of course, and hopefully, you know, we'll see Rory back here again soon. Whether maybe not this season, but certainly into next. Wish Rory all the best, as John mentioned before. That left Somerset a little bit weak at number one. Although to be fair, at the start, I mean, it didn't look like it was going to affect them too much. I think they got 5 points for the first two rider replacement rides. Nico Covatti started the meeting like an absolute train. He was being well backed by Nick Morris. But the makeup of that Somerset team is the big top four. Missing one of them, as you mentioned, Harris not fine, and then the inexperience at the bottom end. Those guys have got the experience now at home, but away from home, Anders Rowe, Luke Harris, Nathan Stoneman, all had their troubles to seek tonight, and none of them could beat an opponent. And that was where the match was really won, and the Monarchs were able to kick on and dominate.
Yeah, you look at three of the riders, the two reserves and Anders Rowe, they only scored 1 point between them all night. So you're never going to win a match with that as well. You've got Harris not firing. I thought Covatti, when he made the gate, was good. When he didn't make the gate, you know, so he needs to be out there. It doesn't really pass much when he doesn't make the gate. And then you've got Morris, who rode really well. So
an uncharacteristic slip up, Morris, and one he was sitting on a comfortable second. I don't know if he just lost concentration or what.
He seemed to, and he ended up in the fence just behind us there. Thankfully, he was up and he was okay. But when you rely so much on a top four, you know, and they said that about us a month ago, 6 weeks ago, we had a strong top four. Well, look at Willie Lawson now. That's a great performance for Willie Lawson tonight. You know, we were on the truck there, and it was actually Ricky Wells said, "Did you see him in heat 11?" You know, that was old school Willie. He said, and it was, you know, he's looking over his shoulder for heaps because he was so far ahead. He rode brilliantly. You watched him in heat 14, I think we spoke about, going for that maximum, and he tried and he tried. He was trying the Josh Pickering line. Josh is up next to us, and honestly, there was nobody in the stadium cheering on him more than Josh. He's jumping up and down, go on, Willie. It was great to see, and it was great, more importantly, to see Willie put that kind of performance in. But no, a great team performance for the guys tonight. Connor Cole's getting himself some points. It wouldn't be Connor if he hadn't binned it on the third and fourth bend as well, so he got his obligatory fall there as well. But no, look, they've all went and had to do a job tonight. You can only beat what's in front of you, as we've said before, and they did it, and they did it well. And
it was important to bounce back, because of course the heads could have went down after that result on Wednesday. Obviously conditions the same for both teams, but they worked against us early with all those gate 4. I think you had Sam up on the tower today, and he was basically saying if you're off gate 4 early in the meeting, you might as well have packed up and went home. I spoke to John Campbell after the match on Wednesday as well, and he said very much the same. So the heads could have went down because, let's be honest, we need, I'm not going to go as far as say a miracle, but if we look at how the Monarchs have performed away from home, we need to take maximum points for every match so far. We've not done it away from home, so we need big performances the rest of the weekend. But you can only start, you can't look ahead to a Saturday at Berwick or a Sunday at Newcastle. You've got to do the job tonight. Sam only beaten in heat 15, by which point match is well won. Nick Morris made a fantastic start, rode 4 faultless laps. James Sargent 7, I think it was. Same for Sel with Josh and Ricky, 7. Ricky coming to the party later on in the meeting. Josh will probably be a wee bit disappointed with some of his gating tonight. It left himself a bit much to do. Cameron Heap's looking like he's never been away. You know, he only dropped 1 point at home last night, beat Jason Doyle at Ipswich, and then comes up here and I think he only dropped 2 points, or there was only 2 heats he was beaten in tonight. And as you mentioned, the reserves. I kind of asked Willie the question, so I'll leave it to his own words, but the season's maybe just going to end too soon for Willie, the way he's coming to form. And Connor, okay, he takes that fall, but he still weighs in with 4 paid 5 or 4 paid 6. So strong, consistent scoring down the line, and a paid heat win or a heat win for every one of the 1 to 7.
Yeah, no, it was a solid team performance, and you're a glutton for punishment interviewing Willie 2 weeks in a row. You know, a nice guy, but definitely an interview. But no, listen, he looked great tonight, and it was solid throughout. I know Ricky on the truck as well. You know, he said to the crowd, you know, finally woke up after his first 2 heats, and you know, the 5-1 for heat 3 for them, you think, well, it's not like Josh and Ricky, but you know, that was a solid kind of middle pairing that Somerset have. Unfortunately for them, it just wasn't backed up in the slightest. I
mean, if you think it's hard enough to interview him on video, try and get him for 800 words for the programme, and that's an interview and a half. You know, we've mentioned it there, so it's on to Berwick tomorrow night. We'll look ahead to that in a little bit. First, we'll just finish off the reaction from tonight. First hearing from Nico Covatti of Somerset. So Nico, a tough one for the Rebels tonight. Obviously always going to be tough, missing Rory, who goes so well here, former Monarch and #1. Young guys, first time here, but he's battled in well, and yourself and Nick kept the score respectable.
Yeah, I really miss Rory tonight, very unlucky. His crash last night, but it's not bad meeting for myself. I have very difficult to ride in this track. It's very technical. I know got so much experience here, but it's not bad. And the day we know it's very hard to win in this track. Yeah, Edinburgh have a good strong team.
And you started off, you know, like a train. You were coming out the gates on fire. Then obviously, I think as the night goes on, maybe the home guys got a bit dialed into the gate, and then it became a bit more difficult for you guys. Yeah,
and definitely here is 99% make good gates, and you needed so much experience here to pass, you know. And yeah, I make a good gate, I win some racing, so it's not bad. But now we need to keep fingers crossed to the playoff.
You mentioned that there, if that's the Rebels season finished, I think you're probably in a situation now where it would maybe take a disaster or a miracle run of results for another team, but you will be sitting watching results like Berwick, Edinburgh tomorrow, just making sure that you get into those playoffs and it all starts again. Yeah,
this is the reality, this is a speedway, and yeah, I think we lost some important meeting at home and away, and now this is the result. You know, we need white for another team, and we'll see what happens.
And if you get into those playoffs, do you fancy your chances against anyone?
Yeah, we never know, but of course we have some problems with the reserve. The guys try all the time, but of course not got so much experience in different tracks. So, but never know. You know, at Somerset we ride very good, so we try to keep fingers crossed.
Nico there, I think when he first came over he was probably viewed as a bit of a big track rider, and potentially still is, but he certainly knows the way around here when he makes that gate. You mentioned it there, I think it was 12 or 13 he got the last time, or last year when he was here. Same again tonight. Any heat Nico's in, if he hits that first bend in front, he's going to take some passing. Yeah, he's definitely a gator. If he can get there, he's very difficult to get past. He had 7 rides, I think he was on 7 rides tonight. You know, definite entertainment in all of them. Good guy to watch around here, and I think Liam had said as well, you know, he's maybe worth looking at for next season if he goes so well around here. But you know, he can't do it all on his own. You know, Morris tried to help him back up, and but he's entertaining, Nico. You see scores down south as well in the Premiership and things, and he's always there or thereabout, providing backup for the guys down there. So no, he's a good rider and definitely worth the entrance fee for. And now from the Monarchs camp, we've kind of previewed it a little bit. Man of the moment for tonight was Willie Lawson. I caught up with him afterwards, and we'll see his heat 14 where he just misses out on a maximum straight after. So just that heat 14 away for the maximum. You made it some effort, but just couldn't quite get around Nico.
I was alright. I made a no bad start, but it was just a little slow in the corner, so I couldn't get alongside him. But no, pleased with my performance, pleased with my third ride as well. I felt a lot better. Like. Overall, obviously, we've spoken quite a few times about the season. You felt you were getting sharper as it went on. A good performance at
Somerset on Wednesday, 9 points, backed up tonight with I think another 9, paid 10 maybe. You must be happy, and it could just end up being a case of the season ending a bit too soon for you.
That's it, but not as long as it used to be as well, like, a lot less meetings and that, and I'm kind of lucky to still be here right enough, but no, happy, just taking a bit longer than I kind of hoped for, but no, I've got engines working good, starting's got a lot sharper, and track as well, track was brilliant tonight,
And then for the Monarchs' point of view, obviously we know we need the away points to get there, but first and foremost was making sure Somerset got nothing tonight, because if they'd have got anything that would have killed our playoff hopes. We did that quite resounding, and then it was quite a comfortable victory.
Yeah, so it was kind of, they got 5-1, I think it was heat 3, and kind of closed the gap a bit, but no, we pulled away in the end, and yeah, looking forward to tomorrow night at Berwick, but I was there last week at Birmingham, and it was just a motorway, just concrete, gate and go, so, set the bikes up for getting to the start, and Newcastle, I'm pretty comfortable with Newcastle, so looking forward to that.
You mentioned that there are obviously 2 huge matches, Berwick and Newcastle, 2 tracks I think you've been number 1 at before in your time, or you're certainly ridden for both, so that must give you comfort that there's nothing unknown about going to these tracks.
Yeah, I bet I like it, it's big and quick, I fed it back in the day when I had the black stuff on it, a bit more dirt and that on it, but just getting at the start, get to the start and sit in the dirt line, just win the race,
And 2 4-points for the Monarch results needed, can the boys do it?
I think we can, aye.
Well done tonight, and thanks again for speaking to us.
Heat 14, Nico Covatti on gate 1, William Lawson gate 2, Nathan Stoneman gate 3, and Ricky Wells on the outside. Wells away well, Covatti just into second ahead of Lawson. Lawson having a go around the outside. Certainly seeing a quicker William Lawson tonight. No doubt about that at all. Look at this. Almost up alongside Covatti there. Again, a big run round the outside line by Lawson. Not finding the room quite, but he's right on Covatti's tail. He used to do a big cutback in the old days. Williams unbeaten up to this point, so his maximum's on the line, but I don't think he's going to catch Covatti from there, but still another not bad ride by William, and another home 4-2.
An effervescent Willie Lawson there, and I think Willie's a quiet guy, he doesn't say much, but we've joked about that, but I think now we're actually probably seeing the real Willie Lawson on and off the track, and at the start of the season when he was scoring 2 or 3, well, he's a quiet guy, you would sort of get a few words out of him, you don't really know when his head's down, but you could see maybe he wasn't enjoying it. A big score at Somerset on Wednesday, I think it was 9, backed up again tonight. Looking forward to a big weekend ahead, and key man for the Monarchs.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we joked just before Heat 15, he's over talking to Alec, and Liam's like, do you think that's him asking why he wasn't in Heat 15? And you know what, he deserved it. If he'd been put out there on his performance tonight, no one would have said no. But for me, with Willie, I think it's down to equipment. He's on an engine there, and he looks fast on it. You can't doubt the guy's ability. Give him the equipment. I suppose you could say that about a lot of riders, but give them the equipment, and he's as good as anyone out there. At the start of the season, it maybe looked like he's trying. There certainly was no lack of trying, but it wasn't happening maybe as much as it should have done. People's expectations of Willie were high. The guy knows the way around here. He was a former Premier League #1, so he should be doing better. But now he's got some good equipment there under him, and he's riding well. And that tonight was brilliant to watch for Willie. It
really was, and I guess it's he's a Monarchs legend. He's won 2 titles, I think, with us, former #1, and. Sitting here, I'm not going to sit and beat the drum about it, but the fact to have a good Scottish rider back in the league, he's not a youngster anymore, but it's great. We're the Edinburgh Monarchs, we're a Scottish team, it's great to see another Scot in that team as well, and more power to him. If he carries on like that the rest of the year, who knows, maybe the Monarchs could still quite pull off the impossible. It starts tomorrow night, John. A feast of speedway at Shieldfield Park. They're advertising at 30 heats. Obviously the Monarchs up first, and then the Glasgow Tigers up after. We know we need 4 points as a minimum. I don't think we could have picked much of a tougher place going to do it. Berwick, barring that, I think it was at 1 blip against Redcar, have been nigh on unbeatable at home. They've had a few injuries recently, but I think they've strengthened up well, bringing Thomas H. Jonas in. Thomas was actually here tonight. I only seen him brief in the pits. I didn't get a chance to say hiya. He was passing through the pits after the match. I don't know if he was maybe up in hospitality or what. I think it's Ben Barker that might be guesting for Spud Summers. He was here. I think he was due to ride for Berwick at Glasgow. Came on here after, so I'm not sure if he stayed up. I don't think he fancied the drive back down to Cornwall as it stays. So I think it's Barker. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is Ben Barker. I'm sure I read somewhere. That doesn't weaken them any more than Spud Summers and Bas Jacobsen would have. And we're really going to equip. We've got that top 4 in place. They need to be powerful, and we know at Berwick key is getting out of that start. Could be even more so tomorrow with the track prep for 30 heats.
Yeah, definitely. I spoke to Willie just after you interviewed him actually, and he was saying the last time they were there, you know, it was the surface was a bit kind of like this. You know, there wasn't much dirt there. You need to get out the gate. Do our guys have the equipment to do that? We'll find out tomorrow. I certainly hope so. I'd love to see them go down there and get 4 points and keep this alive, get it exciting, get the crowds here for the end of the season. You know, my fear is they've left kind of just too late. But you know,
we can maybe just look back on. Yes, we've not been good enough over the piece away from home, but you look back at Leicester. You know, I think we got a point there, but a couple of guys you would have hoped for, you know, 2 or 3 more points. You go to Sheffield, we come away pointless. You know, 2 heats we were on 5-1s and they get pulled back, and we got a 4-2 against and a 3-all, I think, from memory. Another heat, Ricky's sitting in a comfortable second, Shed's a chain. That's the difference between a point at the worst or potentially a win. But these things even themselves out over the season. You can't go against that. And the boys have still got a chance, however slim. We'll be going out obviously on Facebook. This goes out on Saturday morning, so none of this is after the fact. It's good. We're still current.
Still hopeful.
Yeah, but I know there's a busload of at least 18, I think it is, heading down. Plus obviously Berwick, there'll be a lot of cars, there'll be a lot of fans down there. Should be a great atmosphere on the terrace, and obviously the Tigers fans will become Bandits fans in the first match, and the Monarchs fans will become Bandits fans in the second. So great night ahead. Get yourself down there. All that's left is for the boys to go out and do that job. And who knows, we could be standing here next week still talking about that chance.
Yeah, Newcastle on Sunday as well, which won't be easy either. So no, but you don't know. We could be sitting here next Friday, having had the 2 matches, and then Sheffield, and saying, listen, you know, we're in this. We're in this, but you know, it's up to the guys to go and do it tomorrow. The thing is, they're more than capable of doing it. You spoke about those meetings earlier in the season, and you know, you say about shed chain and things like that. Look, you know, yes, it's unlucky and all the rest of it, but some of the scores have not been good enough for there. So let's not look at shed change and things like that. But the guys have got a chance to put it right tomorrow. They've got a chance to go to Berwick and say, do you know what? We're going to make up for some of our away performances and put in a belter. Listen, nobody believes for a second these guys aren't trying their hardest. Of course they are, but it's results that count. You know, we spoke the other week there about Connor Cole's, you know, starting to get points again tonight, because how long does that continue? Well, it's great to see he got points the other week. He got points tonight. These things can turn quickly in Speedway, and I hope tomorrow night we get a wee away result, get the fans going, do you know what, fancy this, and then back here next week for Sheffield, and who knows what can happen, and prolong the season a bit and get ourselves in the playoffs, and it'd be the biggest outsider I think I'd ever seen. I was saying earlier as well about, well, obviously we were fairly comfortable after we beat 12-13. And I'd said to Liam, I says, you know, I wish it had been like this in 2014, you know, but then, you know, you wouldn't have had the euphoria of what happened in Heat 15. So
it brings a tear to the eye, that Heat 15 video, doesn't it?
I was so lucky. I don't know where Scott Wilson was that night, but I was able to cover in the middle, and you know what, from going Heat 12, I remember walking in and seeing Derek, and he was just, you know, we're going to blow this, and then to what happened in 15. So you wouldn't change that for the world, but you know, much more comfortable tonight. Hopefully that gives the guys bags of confidence, and then tomorrow night, who knows?
As John says, who knows? Well, one place to find out what happened is the Monarchs official website. If you're not in attendance, there will be updates on there. From, remember, earlier start time at Berwick tomorrow for the double header, 6:30. Then down to Newcastle on Sunday, where I've completely forgotten the tapes. It's normally 5:30 down there from memory, so I think it could be 5:30. It'll be on the website at some point whenever we're on. Do keep an eye on that. John, thanks once again for joining us. Another enjoyable night. Thanks once again for watching, and keep an eye for those results. Maybe we'll be here next week with something to cheer on.